p.m. in Accra, 11 p.m. in London, and midnight in Cape Town. Wherever you're watching us from, this is News at 10 on TV3. We are also live on your radio on 3FM 92.7 and streaming on our Facebook page and on 3news.com. We'll begin the bulletin with a summary of the day's headline stories on our networks. President Akufo-Addo has reiterated government's resolve at building a self-reliant economy through a business environment devoid of corruption. The president gave the assurance when he received a Caribbean business delegation at the seat of government, the Flagstaff House in Accra. National Service Scheme's effort at supporting government's planting for food and jobs policy has been impeded by the fall armyworm infestation that hits the nation. An acre of maize farm expected to yield 30 bags of 50 kilograms maize each is currently producing only 15 bags per acre. More than 100 members of the Public Utilities Regulatory Workers Union of the Electricity Company picketed the premises of the Trades Unions Congress TUC to demand that government pay their severance package. Union leaders have given government 3 months to initiate negotiations or risk legal action. The chiefs and elders of Nkonya Alavanyo traditional area have pleaded with the Volta Regional Peace Council to do everything within its power to end the long-standing conflict. The two communities indicate they are tired of killing each other and want it to end immediately. And the president has handed the Black Stars a bonus of $100,000 for winning the West Africa Union Cup WAFO 2017. The president made the promise after Maxwell Kunedu and his players called on him at the Flagstaff House to present the trophy. So those were our major news highlights. Remember, we're live on 3FM 92.7 and streaming on our Facebook page and on 3news.com. Up next is the big one. Welcome back. Now, members of the National Development Planning Commission, NDPC, have submitted their collective resignation after presenting a draft long-term development plan to the president at the Flagstaff House in Accra. Chairman of the commission, Dr. Kwesi Botwe, says the plan is not to shackle successive governments, but to establish a long-term horizon to promote national development.
The National Development Planning Commission was established under Article 86 and 87 of the 1992 Constitution as part of the executive. It is an independent body to advise the President on matters relating to policy, planning and strategy. Announcing the team's collective resignation, the chairman, Dr. Kwesi Botwe, said the plan is to forge continuity of development.
Our work having been done, Mr. President, this was the most important part of our mission. We, as a commission, chaired by me, Mr. President, would like to collectively, Mr. President, stand down, bring our tenure as a commission. Not so much because any law or statute or constitution requires us to, but in order to give you, Mr. President, the opportunity to recompose, recast the commission in accordance with their own vision and priorities, as well, Mr. President, as the supreme interest of our country. I thank you, Mr. President.
President Akufo-Addo thanked the Commission for its work and promised to subject the document to careful review.
My government and on my own behalf, I express my sincere gratitude to you, Chairperson, for the policy direction you provided and to you, the Director General, Dr. Nimoy Thompson, for the organizational and technical leadership that got this document out. From the little I know of the operations of the Commission, I'm aware that each and every one of you, the members of the Commission, have made significant input into this document. Your experience and knowledge have no doubt been brought to bear in the drafting of the document. I wish again to thank you all for the contribution you have made. As we receive this document, my team will now continue the work from here and subject it to careful review with the expectation that any angles that were missed and any additional milestones will be defined. I trust we can count on your support for the long haul, well beyond the short to medium term.
Right, let's do some discussions now. On the telephone lines, we have Dr. Steven Yeun, who is a former president of the Ghana Institute of Planners, is joining us now. Doc, good evening, and thank you extremely for joining us.
Yeah, good evening.
Now, let me put it the way Dr. Kwesi Boche put it. He said that, and I quote, "The plan is not to shackle successive governments, but to establish a long-term horizon to promote national development," unquote. So this is brilliant in principle, but would you say that this is realistic, especially under the current structure and constitutional mandate of the NDPC?
Yes, the Ghana Institute of Planners, we advocated for this long-term development plan, but we did not come out with this long-term as is being stipulated. We were looking at a medium-term plan. It's unfortunate we call it long-term plan because we wanted it to have a longer horizon. Generally, looking at the dynamics of the planning horizon in Ghana and most West African countries, a very long-term plan will have challenges. Challenges in terms of the fact that looking at technology, things keep on changing very fast. So maybe 20 years, or even if it's 40 years, it should be a 40 years perspective. Which is broken down into, medium-term plans to allow for technological changes to manifest. So I think that is the only weakness of the very long-term plan.
Right. So under the circumstance, I know that the former members who resigned today actually were appointed during the NDC administration. So would you say it is realistic to expect that Nanado's government will work to implement the plan, that is a 40-year development plan that was put forward to him today?
I think it will be clear.
Hello, Doc. Right, this is News at 10. We're still live on TV3, and you can also hear us on 3FM 92.7. We have lost Dr. Steven Yeun on telephone. We will try to bring him back. But if you've just joined us, the members of the National Development Planning Commission have resigned en masse, and all members have submitted their resignation to the president. And at that submission of resignation, they also presented a 40-year development plan to the president. So what we have been discussing with Dr. Steven Yeun, who is a development planner and former president of the Ghana Institute of Planners, is actually the way forward, whether it's realistic to implement this 40-year development plan, and indeed whether what we need is a long-term development plan to the extent of 40 years. We're also trying to get him back so that we will discuss the constitutional provisions of Article 86 and 87, which is actually what created the NDPC, and way forward, whether it is necessary to review or amend that law so that constitutional provision, so we can make the NDPC more responsive to modern trends of development. I think we're not able to get Dr. Steven Yeun. We'll take a break. We do have him. We're grateful to have him back on the telephone lines. So, Dr. Yeun, I was saying that the members who resigned today were actually appointed under the NDC administration, and they have worked diligently and, I must say, hard enough to put together a development plan, 40 years. Do you expect that the Nana Akufo-Addo's government will implement that plan?
I don't expect the president to implement it wholesale. It needs to be validated. And through the validation, certain adjustments could be made to make sure that the plan will become operational. Because we need to look at our current dispensation and adjust the plan to work accordingly. Wholesale implementation of it can bring challenges.
Come to think of it, you started earlier by making suggestions that the Ghana Institute of Planners was in favor of a long-term development plan. But short-term, medium-term, long-term, which is better? Especially long-term, like 40 years. Many feel that 40 years is a bit too long for a developing economy like ours.
Yes, 40 years indeed is too long. And the GIP, Ghana Institute of Planners, as we advocated for it, we were not looking at that very long-term plan per se. We're looking at a long-term perspective, where that perspective will be broken down into medium-term and short-term plans to make sure that it will stand the test of time. Because look at the technological development of the nation. It will be a little bit too difficult to make sure that a long-term plan like 40 years can be made operational. So that's how it stands.
That's how it is. And I also know that the NDPC is actually a creation of the Constitution, Article 86 and 87 of the Constitution, which actually clearly spells out the functions of the NDPC and also makes the president have sole authority over the commission. There have been suggestions, however, that this provision needs to be amended to protect the NDPC from political interference. Do you agree with these suggestions, and what kind of benefit do you think it will bring if it is amended?
In fact, looking at the NDPC, the law establishing NDPC, NDPC must be run by planners, but not politicians. Because it's purely a professional group. But unfortunately, right from inception, I used to be one of the very early employees of NDPC. And looking at it, it's like it was turned into too much political, body, more than a professional one. I'm not saying it should be only professional. It should be a mix. There must be a mix. Because if it's purely professional without the political touch, it can also run into difficulties. Because what is it? It's the government who implements such policies and programs and whatever. So it shouldn't be too politicized. And it shouldn't be too professionally put together. So it's like you have to have the mix of professionalism and political connotation.
Right, Dr. Steven Yeun. We're grateful for your time. Thank you extremely. Dr. Steven Yeun is a former president of the Ghana Institute of Planners. We'll take a break here. And when we return, we'll tell you what the regent of Nkonya has been saying. He's actually blaming the unending crisis in that part of the Volta region to the inaction of the security agencies. We'll be doing some analysis on that. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Now, the regent of Asiedu-Dartey, Christian Yeun, has blamed the unending Nkonya and Alavanyo conflict on the inaction of the security detailed there. But this has been strongly rejected by the security agencies, who rather blame it on lack of information.
At least 80 lives have been lost through the barrel of the gun since the Nkonya and Alavanyo conflict started on April 7, 1983. Hundreds of residents have also been maimed, with scores still living with bullets in their bodies. Yet attempts at brokering peace remain elusive. In the view of the regent of Asiedu-Dartey, Christian Yeun, the continuous atrocities must be blamed on the inaction of the security.
There are soldiers and police officers at Alavanyo. There are some at Hinkro, and we have a few at Tai. If the youth of Tai are planning to move out, by every means, somebody will tell the soldiers, this is what is happening. The same thing must be done at Alavenyo and at Ahinkoro. But they sit down and allow things to happen.
He wonders how people continue to be shot at and no one is arrested in spite of the presence of the security detail.
Now you sit down, if you are guns, being shot from the mountains to the town to kill people. I think we lost somebody at Tayi like that. I'm hearing somebody also was lost in Alavenyo. So it's a very serious matter. And we plead with the army officers and the police officers who are with us.
This was supported by the Volta Regional Peace Council Chairman Monsignor Anthony Konu, who is demanding more from the security.
If the police had not been there, we don't know what will happen. But have they also done sufficiently what they should be doing? Over 80 human lives have been lost. How many arrests have been made of the perpetrators? The police are to answer this.
But the security disagree and blame the situation on lack of information.
I was wondering why not a single suspect was arrested. So I began to investigate to find out why, first of all, police could not be able to arrest anybody in connection with any shootings they reported from both communities. And my evidence is that from both communities, it's very, very difficult to get any information from anybody.
The whole meeting might have agreed in principle to restore lasting peace, but these concerns, along with several entrenched positions, require urgent attention.
Well, let's get on to Skype now. We have been joined via Skype by Adam Bona, who is a security and safety expert, to find out what exactly it means to the safety of the inhabitants for the police to be blamed for this conflict. Mr. Bona, thank you. We're grateful that you could join us. This is getting a bit worrying, especially as the chiefs are now blaming the police for the conflicts and the killings in the Alavenyo and in Konya area. What does this mean to a peaceful resolution of the issues there?
Thank you very much, and to your cherished viewers. I think listening to condolences to families who have lost siblings and have lost family members through this protracted Alavenyo and Konya fight. Listening to the police commander, I am a bit surprised and I'm disappointed. It looks like the police commander is actually putting the blame on the chiefs and people of the two areas. And we need to remind our police officers that we pay them to protect lives and properties. And so if the police commander, what he said, that he's surprised that not one single person has been arrested for probably committing any crime. One would say, wherein lies the aspect of police intelligence? I would have been expecting that the police would have put in instruments to ensure they infiltrate both communities, the Konya and the Alavenyo communities. You need to live with them. If you need to pick up intelligence information, you need to be with the people. And if you are expecting them to get that information and bring it to you and it is not coming, is the reason why we have the Ghana Police Service. We have trained police intelligence officers. They should go in there and investigate them. They should live with the people. They should turn themselves into farmers. They should farm with these people just to be able to pick up one information on the other. That would help. And arresting some of these people who keep on committing trouble within the community. And so I would want to urge caution and say, from what the police commander said, I would have wished that he would have said it differently. But I understand the execution effort that is ongoing, and would have wished that they are able to carry on with the mediation effort by way of asking the people to stop fighting, by probably also ensuring that they put in place a mechanism to investigate some of these atrocities and bring some of these perpetrators to to book. And so that's what I have to say.
Let me get back to the police and the fact that they're saying they lack information to go on to effect arrests. And don't forget, this conflict has been raging for so many years. Is this not troubling that the police service and the security agencies who are tasked with the responsibility to, one, solve the various associated crimes in this conflict and also perhaps lead negotiations for peace, are saying they don't have information, they don't get cooperation from the residents to effect any arrest? Then why are they there?
Well, that's the question we'd be asking the hierarchy of the police, the Ghana Police Service. I am amazed. I'm sure the commander would have to probably be invited to probably be schooled on the work of the Ghana Police Service. The work of the Ghana Police Service, you don't have to wait for people to bring you information. You go out there and search for that information. You do what you have to do to get the information. But you don't say the people are refusing to give the information, so end of story. Whilst people are dying, we pay them to make sure we are safe. And so I am completely surprised, like I said earlier on. I would want to see a situation where the police is proactive. Let's send people in there. Policing in the past, they would have sent investigators, they would have sent a crack team into these areas, and they just need to arrest one or two persons from both areas. And I believe that once people get to know that I am going to be punished, or they begin to feel that there are intelligence officers who are living with us, I believe that this unending dispute would somehow end. But until that, if you have our police commanders who are supposed to be leading the charge, telling the community that we are waiting for you to bring us information, and once the information is not coming, we have done enough and we are somehow powerless. I feel that is not helpful.
Right. Mr. Bona, we're grateful for your time. Thank you extremely for joining us. Mr. Adam Bona is a security and safety analyst. You heard his views there. Let's move away from that. Ghana will on Thursday meet her Ivorian counterparts to discuss the way forward after the ruling by the International Tribunal on the Law of the Sea on Saturday. President Akufo-Addo revealed this when a team led by Energy Minister Boachi Ejako called on him to deliberate on the outcome of the ruling.
We shouldn't allow the grass to grow under our feet. And I felt that as soon as possible, we should meet and begin now to chart the way forward. To some extent also, there's a time constraint for me. On Thursday, the Ivorian president, Alassane Ouattara, is sending a high emissary to come and see me on Thursday morning. And I felt that it would be appropriate if I was sufficiently armed with all the considerations of the matter so that when he came, I could also speak with some intelligence in the interest of our nation.
And the Accra Regional Police Command is waging a war against land guard activities in the region. The command is therefore soliciting media support to enable it achieve the set target and flush out what it terms a potential danger to human survival.
The activities of land guards have been one of the major worries in the Greater Accra region. Hundreds have been maimed and scores have lost their lives in a bid to claim what rightfully belongs to them. The police especially has been blamed for allegedly not doing its best to control the situation and protect innocent and helpless landowners. In order to stamp its authority, the Accra Regional Police Command has launched a media campaign in order to clear the region of land guards. The Regional Police Commander DCOP George Alex Mensah decried the illegality being perpetrated by these social deviants and vowed to halt it. He gave the assurance during a courtesy call on Media General Group in Kanda, Accra.
Accra Regional Police Command is here to solicit your support in the war against land guards. It includes all those who use any means which is force to protect their lands. It doesn't matter whether the land belongs to you or not, you are not allowed to use any force in the protection of your land.
The Group CEO of Media General Pelesio Mensah has assured the delegation of the company's support.
And the National Service Scheme's effort at supporting government's planting for food and jobs policy has been impeded by the fall army worm infestation that hits parts of the country. And an acre of maize farm expected to yield about 30 bags of 50 kilograms maize each is currently producing only 15 bags per acre.
The National Service Scheme's agriculture initiative is in sync with government's planting for food and jobs. The NSS is currently harvesting its maize farms nationwide. It has 60 acres of land at Ejura in the Ashanti region, 150 acres at Asiedu-Dartey, and 60 acres at Damongo, all in the northern region, 150 acres at Breman in the Bronhaf region, and 250 acres at Dawenya. The acting executive director of the National Service Scheme NSS, Mustafa Yusuf, visited the Dawenya farms on Tuesday, September 26, to support and supervise personnel as they began harvesting the maize.
This is the 250-acre maize farmland owned by the National Service Scheme here at Dawenya. And we are told by the farm manager that they were expecting 30 bags of 50 kilogram maize from each acre. But due to the armyworm infestation, so far they are making a little over 15 bags per acre.
But acting executive director of the NSS says, in spite of the fall armyworm infestation, they look forward to making 15,000 bags after harvesting all farms.
So far what we have seen is not bad. It's not that bad. We've gotten over 1,000 bags already here, and we are still harvesting. So hopefully we are going to hit the minimum target. We have cultivated over 1,000 acres, and we are not expecting anything less than 15,000 mini bags of maize.
The scheme has so far posted over 5,000 personnel to support the agriculture sector.
2,275 of them are just deployed to support the planting for food and jobs. So if you go to every district, we have NSPs, National Service Personnel, there to support the President Initiative for Planting for Food and Jobs. Aside that, National Service as a scheme, we also have our own farms, and we've deployed service personnel across our farms. And we are expecting that after the national service, they should be able to set up their own farms.
He adds that the scheme only concentrated on maize and poultry this year, but will venture into other cereals and animal husbandry next year. He also disclosed government has released an amount of 25 million cedis to support the scheme's agricultural programs.
Next farming season, you will see us, we will be present in all the 10 regions. And if possible, most of the districts where we are able to secure land, most of the districts.
And that's how we wrap up with news at 10. Thank you very much for staying with us. And there is more news at 3news.com. On behalf of the crew here, good night.